All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is ISRL Carter here in Azerbaijan. This is Division 4 for ISRL Esports Round 6 here at the Baku City Circuit in the heart of the city of Baku, Azerbaijan. Once again, this is Round 6 in Division 4. Standing still looking as per usual, at least at the top, with Kurt Valletta still holding strong in the lead. But again, as we saw last week, just one mistake can change the look of how the rest of the season could possibly go. So never count yourself out. It's never too late, as some of the cars now start to make their way out onto the track. Let's go ahead and get some of the information up on the screen. Help give everyone else a little bit more detail as to what each driver is having to deal with. Not quite sure about the weather forecast, at least for the race. Looks pretty good right now. Pretty clear skies, pretty bright out, so no threat of rain, at least I don't think so, for qualifying. As for the moment, a lot of drivers look like they're opting for the softs, at least the ones that are decided to go ahead and head out. But as you can see, drivers as of Louis, Mushroom, and Luciana are thinking about the mediums. Luciana, actually no, they're all of them now out on an out lap, so they're going to see what the medium can do compared to the softs. And will it prove any advantage in the strategy aspect of this race? Definitely expecting a lot of chaos here. Azerbaijan's always got that threat of chaos, especially at the castle section, but a very tight, narrow track, not a lot of room for mistakes, that is for sure. As one little misstep can have you dropping down the order very, very quickly, especially on the opening laps of the race. So speaking of the standings, I'll go ahead and go over them real quickly. It is Kurt Valletta, Mercedes, even after last week having that issue, or maybe it was a couple races ago, recently had an issue and had to fall down the order in the finishing. He still sits first though with 160. Luibo Angelo V97 in the AlphaTauri is his closest rival with 116. But honestly, after that, it's all double digits. Those are the only two drivers so far in the standings who have reached that 100-point mark. And speaking of Mark, it's Mark who sits third in the standings, and Sprunky in fourth, and rounding out the top five is Bart. So we're with Victor right now. He was, I think, the first to leave the pits. Had a little bit of trouble there, it looked like, in the castle section. So we're going to stick it with him now. Ephraim's already had an issue. Look at that, yeah, turn two. Ephraim is retired from the session, so the contender, I'd say, already out early here in qualifying. A bit of a shocker. Victor now just starting this final sector 3, just pretty much pedal to the floor and hope for the best. This is really the only kind of semi-difficult part, is just getting those two back-to-back corners at the right angle, but now it's just DRS and pedal to the metal, and he's going to set the stamp on the benchmark time that all these drivers are going to want to say. It's a 141.1. Now look at him, it looks like his teammate's about to come across the line as well. See how he compares. He is about a second off his one wing from his teammate. And we get Young Lights now into the Renault for this weekend. Actually goes fastest, first driver into the 140s, and he's about a second faster than Victor. So a lot of these drivers putting pretty considerable gaps on there on the rest of the drivers. Oh, and into the wall goes Young Lights. Just about to mention, Mushroom got himself into fourth. As Cosmo across the line goes fifth. Sprunky, I think he invalidated his lap, so he'll have to go for another one. Looks like Bacher as well to go for another one. But now here, let's go ahead and turn our attention to the championship leader, Kurt Valletta, in the Mercedes. Definitely expecting to see him top the charts, but again, you got to expect the unexpected sometimes. But let's just go ahead and see where Kurt's going to put his time. V. Jaku already takes pole away from Young Lights, but where's Kurt Valletta? Just about 2/10, maybe a little bit less ahead of V. Jaku, but he does take that pole position away from him just as quickly as he took it away from Young Lights. Now what can Young Lights' teammate do? Now Bart, sitting in a good place in the standings, he's actually going to come into the pits. Let's go ahead and cut to him. He's got to set a time so far. As I mentioned before, third in the standings. It's about a, let's call it a 35-point gap to second. That's Angelov. So a pretty considerable gap to try and make up with the ISRL point standings. Any weekend can change the entire outcome, really, of an entire season. We'll let his teammate Chris went 5th, but now here's a B-Mark. He actually goes up into 3rd and has to quickly get out of the way of that Alfa Romeo. Who was that? Was that the Maverick, or was that Mushroom? It looked like that was, maybe it was Mushroom getting in the way maybe a little bit. Or, excuse me, Mark getting in the way of Mushroom. Not quite sure though. Bacher goes up to 7th with a 140.9. So a good lap from the Red Bull. Comes Chris down into the pits now along with his teammate. Just about 10, or excuse me, 11 minutes remaining here in qualifying. Here go the McLarens past Sprunky. Let's jump to Doomsray. I haven't mentioned him yet in the broadcast. He's opting for the medium tires as well, with Lucianoc, Mushroom, and Louis. Hasn't really fared so well. Mushroom put up a respectable lap, but probably it's going to be the case where he'll have to go out again. Oh, and there's been the Williams actually that's just letting Doomsray out of the way. It really is dependent a lot on how you can take this difficult Sector 2. If you can get it right, you'll be rewarded with a good lap time, but a lot of the differences in these times that you see, I can guarantee you, are different outcomes, shall we say, of their performance through the castle section, because it really can affect a lap if you don't get it spot on. But now Doomsray's got, I'm pretty sure I saw the slipstream of the, he's behind him, V-Mark's behind him, but here comes Doomsray now on the mediums. Let's see how that medium lap is going to fare for him. He actually goes right behind Mushroom, 142.19. A couple of drivers all at the bottom of the standings at the moment. A lot of them, actually all of them, have yet to set a time, but 16th on down, minus Ephraim, are currently out on a lap. Lucianoc, he's about to actually cross the line now. Another one of the medium tire runners. Where is he going to be last of the timed laps so far? Definitely going to want to go and try that one again. Maybe switch tires. We'll just have to wait and see. Rusty Oil Can yet to register a championship point. Definitely going to want to look to change that this weekend. Not a bad place to maybe start off a bit of a run here. Unpredictable track, just have to wait. A good time from him though, goes up to 9th, but we'll have to wait and see if he can hold that. And now, as these guys without a time start to file their way down to the finish line, Captain Blade's one of them. He goes up to 7th. A 140.5 for the AlphaTauri drivers. A couple of drivers. Oh, and he spins and he's out. What was that? Couldn't really see what happened. Looked like he was just weaving around to warm up his tires, but then just all of a sudden just slammed into the 90-degree corner wall of turn 2. And that's Captain Blade out of the session just after he had set a really good lap time. Just now completed about 10 minutes of qualifying, 8 more to go. Still Kurt Valletta holding strong, about a tenth separate him in Jakku 53, and now Young Lights is out of the session, excuse me. I was going to say in the castle section, but it doesn't look like it. It's just a little bit after. Look at Cosmo, there he's in the middle of the track. It's going to be very dangerous for all these guys coming up right behind him. Hopefully they can all avoid him. Looks like they are all able. There's a big pack of cars here, including Bacher. There's a Haas right behind him. Looks like they were all able to get through relatively unscathed. Jakku looked like he had just set a purple sector 2, looking to topple Kurt Valletta from the pole position, or provisional pole position that he currently holds. But here comes the Haas. It's Jakku 53. Got a little bit of a slipstream from the McLaren, and he does take pole away from Kurt Valletta for the moment by nearly 0.8 of a second. It's a 1:38.866. So Kurt Valletta's got a bit of a challenge here ahead of him if he wants to grab that pole position back again. Now Kurt Valletta's actually about to cross the line. Can he improve? I don't think he did. He may have improved by, actually, I think it looks like about 1/10 of a second, because I know he was at a 1:38.8. So not able to pass Jakku, at least for the moment. There's a yellow flag here in the castle section. Let's get on board, and it's Cosmo having troubles in the castle section in that racing point, hits the wall and retires out of the session. And it was out of a 9th place too, so a respectable time. One Wing now starting. Pretty sure this is his second hot lap. We don't want to look to improve on his 1:42.1. Sixth in the standings is his teammate Victor. Victor sits in 6th. One Wing down in 19th, only with 8 points. Still a lot of time for anything to happen. Sprunky crosses the line. It's a 1:39.9 for Sprunky. Don't know why I didn't have all the lap data up before, but we got it now for the final 5 minutes here in qualifying. It's Jakku. Mark actually overtook Kurt as well. So Kurt is down to 3rd. A pretty surprising turn of events here. Not used to seeing Kurt at 3rd. It sounds like, a bit of a criticism, but it just speaks to how often we see him up at the top of the standings, or at least in qualifying. Talking about One Wing before, still on that lap. Just finishing up Sector 2 now. And he goes fastest in the sector. Gonna want to look to maybe put up a bit of a surprising result here in qualifying at Azerbaijan. This is Division 4, Round 6. My name is ISRL Carter. Thank you, everyone who has tuned in. Now here comes One Wing, gonna look to cross the line. And here he goes, and he only improves by about 0.4, puts him up into 12th. Counting down the final qualifying. It's Jakku and Mark on the front row at the moment. It's, Maverick and Rick are the only ones yet to set a time. Ephraim had a crash earlier in the session and was never really able to set a good lap. Sprunky's going to come into the pits, maybe regroup. Maybe have time for one more. Mushroom starting his now. Let's jump to Doomsray, who's about to cross the line. He goes up to 9th. Much improved time by nearly a second for the McLaren, so well done to him. Now Victor, one of his final laps, improves by about a 10th. Doesn't improve his position in the standings though, so stays 7th. Rusty oil can now. All these laps gonna look to be some of the last ones. They've got to be the best of the session for these guys. Crosses the line, does not improve on his time, so stays 15th. Here comes Mushroom. I think that where was the Maverick? Goes up to 9th. He had yet to set a time, and there he goes into the top 10. Chris's lap was invalidated, so he'll jump back into the pits. Approaching 1 minute remaining here. It's Jakku, Mark, and Kurt, the top 3 at the moment. Mushroom currently 13th, only was able to get a 141.6. Pretty much from 11th to the 15th is a great battle with these times all so close together, but he's currently 2 seconds up on his time. He's switched to the softs, realized that the mediums probably weren't going to get him a good qualifying spot, and has decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead, set the fastest time I possibly can, and in fact, actually everyone has decided to do the same. Okay, Mushroom improve his time, goes up to 4th with a 1:39.0. Mushroom, very impressive time there. 4th place for the Alpha. Victor went out for another lap and improves by 3/10, able to get up to 6th, under a minute left now. As this guy currently on provisional pole, beat Jakku 53, a 1:38 flat is a very impressive. That is a full second faster than the driver in 4th place. Very impressive. As now Kurt will start his final lap, as well as V-Mark. He's right behind him. There's 10 seconds left now, so all of these laps are going to have to be perfect from these guys. Chris retires out of the session in the pits. Sprunky's not going to be able to make it to the line to start another time, so I don't think. Or will this count? No, yeah, he's done. He's at, but he will be 7th, so not too terribly disappointing. But now all eyes are going to go to these top 3 drivers who have pretty much stayed there and flip-flopped each other's positions this entire qualifying session. But now it's when it's going to count. Here comes Jakku to set the benchmark. He goes better by about a 10th, 1:37.8. So that is going to be the time that V-Mark and Kurt Billett are going to have to beat. And honestly, you expect it at this point with the obvious pace and the clear talent of Kurt Valletta, but you know, Jakku's come up with a bit of a surprise and toppled both V-Mark and Kurt Valletta, with Ephraim crashing out of the session early. So now here we go. Championship leader Kurt Valletta for his final time is going to cross the line. Can he snag pole away from Jakku? No, only improves by about 0.07 of a second. V-Mark can't do it either. He improves by 0.4, but it's still not enough. And it's going to be Jakku on pole here in Azerbaijan. V-Mark's going to join him on the front row. Kurt Valletta will start 3rd. Mushroom was on a lap. It looks like, is he out of gas? It looks like Mushroom has run out of gas here. He was looking to do another lap. It just didn't have it in him. Not enough to be able to do it. But he will start in a very impressive 4th position, though. So very well done to him. Bacher, another usual suspect here in the top 5. 5 will indeed start 5th. Victor will start 6th. Sprunky in 7th. A very good qualifying for Young Lights in 8th position. Just waiting for the last of these guys to pit, and that would be Mushroom. And there we go. And that is qualifying here over Division 4, Round 6, Azerbaijan. It is Vijaku 53. I'll get it right eventually. Who's on pole. And now look at this. We got a couple of position grid drops. Got a 5th-place one for VMark as well. I think it was Sprunky, yeah. So Sprunky will not start 7th. He will start 12th. VMark will start 7th. So Kurt Valletta will, some way or another, find himself starting on the front row. Let's take a look here at the bottom half of the grid. Let me get a couple more things set up. Doomsray with a good qualifying position for him. 11th, Chris in 13th, and they decided to take the standings away from me. So we'll just have to see again once we load back into the session. So at least for now, no rain, not really even a cloud in sight here in Baku. So no weather threats yet. We had a clear qualifying, very unlike the rest of this season. Mentioned it a lot in some of the previous broadcasts. We had a string of, I think it was 4 straight races where it was a wet race. So at least for now, our fortunes have changed for the better or for worse, depending on who you are and how, or what your talent level is, I don't know, in the wet. All right, ready for the formation lap. Division 4, as I mentioned before, Kurt Valletta's moving up into P2 to start this session after VMark's penalty. He actually only goes down to 6th, so VMark starts 6th instead of 2nd. Kurt Valletta, oh, okay. I forgot. We're dealing with Mushroom. A common case of internet issues for Mushroom, but it looks like everything's okay for him. Didn't actually hit the wall. Pull this up and let's see this different strategy. Now Doomsray is in an interesting position here. You might see starting 10th and say, how did he get in the top 10 on those hearts? But as I mentioned, the grid drops. He actually qualified 11th and decided to start on the hards, but because of that grid penalty, he's going to start in 10th. A lot of guys in the back, though, not opting for the softs. Even the hards are even coming out from, looks like 4 drivers. So more drivers opting for the hards than the mediums. Or actually, no, I take that back. Louis and Rick had a disqualification on the formation lap, so it looks pretty even through the bottom 10 on tire choice besides Sprunky and Chris, who still opted to start on the fastest and grippiest compound tire. There is a spin. That one is a real spin by VMark on the formation lap. Luckily, damage is off for him, but a bit of a moment, a bit of a heart-stopping moment for him on the formation lap, losing control like that. But again, luckily no damage, so able to carry on and get back to the grid to start the ISRL Season 4, Division 4, Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Ready for the action? Let's get to it. right. Engines are revving. We're waiting for those lights to start the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're out. We are off in Azerbaijan. It is V. Jaku and Kurt Valletta both getting pretty good starts, but it's going to be V. Jaku on the outside. There's a Red Bull of Bakar making contact with Mushroom going into turn 1. A lot of jockeying at the back. Looks like there's been a bit of a contact, but it's still going to be. No, it's not. It is V. Jaku into the wall at turn 2. Kurt Valletta down the inside is going to take advantage of it, and a VSC has come out now just as Kurt Valletta got past V. Jaku, and Mushroom, it looks like, even as well has gotten past V. Jaku, and he has for provisional P2, and he's into the wall now. Completely missed the braking zone. He was in a net P2 of the race under VSC and just completely forgot to brake, it looked like, and a lot of wing damage for Mushroom. And somehow, out of all of that carnage, after qualifying P3, getting up to P2, before the first lap has even been halfway completed, Kurt Valletta is in the lead. V. Jaku, does he have any wing damage? I'd be very shocked if he didn't have any wing damage. He does there on the right. That right end plate is missing, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. There's going to be right behind him. Bakar had an incident with Mushrooms retires out of the race. Is that in the castle section? A huge roadblock that was caused, I think, by Mushroom. I'm not sure, but all of these drivers just stuck waiting to get out of the castle section. They can all go now as we are under 35 conditions once more. It's Kurt Valletta and V-Mark, but V-Mark's going to get a good slipstream here down the long straightaway. It's still only lap 1, and there's already 2 cars out of the race. Rusty Oil Can was involved in that carnage as well, I think. Look at this, blocking down all the way to the inside into the pits. Here comes Kurt Valletta and V-Mark. What's happened here? Am I completely unaware of something? A different strategy, maybe? V. Jaku comes into the pits to replace his front wing, so Bakar, probably the most unexpected leader out after 2 laps of the race, but it is him. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's just part of the timing issue. There's a safety car. What's happened? It's Bart out of the race. I don't know how I didn't notice it, but there is a safety car. Maybe that's why everyone's pitting. I was so used to seeing a yellow flag in Sector 2, I thought it was. But no, that is why they pitted. That makes a whole lot more sense. So now this is interesting. I'm actually, hold on a minute, because it shows V. Jaku in the race. Oh, they were passing the safety car, I think. Pretty sure. Where's the safety car? It's waiting for everyone. Okay. Because I could have swore I had seen it in front of Sprunky. It looked like he was following right behind it, but I guess not. One thing I was right about, though, it is going to be Bakar, the most unlikely leaders after seeing really who he had to get by. Kurt Valletta drops down to 10th. Mushroom is out of the race after starting P3. V-Mark's out of the top 10. It's Bakar, Young Lights, and Victor's the top 3. Captain Blade and Doomsray really out of nowhere in a great position right now on the hard tires in 5th place. Chris with also, let's actually pull up the position change. Bakar, actually, that's right, he has yet to hit under the safety car, and so has Young Lights. So they're going to come in now. Position change, yeah, Ephraim, after starting dead last after not even putting in a qualifying lap. Everyone now coming into the pits except for Doomsray, who after starting in 11th, or qualifying in 11th place, starting 10th on the hard tires, is now leading the race after 3 laps have been completed. One wing up 12 positions, and as I said, Ephraim up 16 after starting in last. Under safety car conditions, now we had a VSC early in lap 1 with Excuse me. Oh my goodness. It was Vijaku who started out in the lead. And at turn 2, just overshot the braking zone, went straight into the outside wall. Kurt was able to get on the inside of him and take P1. But then so was Mushroom. Was able to get past him as well. The VSC came out, and just as it ended, there was a huge pileup and a roadblock at the castle section that took out Mushroom and Rusty Oil Can. And have to believe that caused the safety car to come out, and I was just completely oblivious that it was out for a good 5 minutes. But it is out, and I don't think it'll come in this lap. It may, but Doomsray has really found himself in the most unlikely of situations if you were to think back to the beginning of the race. So a lot of these drivers have gotten off the soft tires, looking to maybe go to the end of the race on the hards. But at Azerbaijan, you can really expect a safety car at any point in the race, so still anything can happen. Everything's up for grabs, with Kurt Valletta now getting back up into the top 5 and 5th, V-Mark in 9th, and Vijaku in 12th. So the top 3 who started this race are 5th, 9th, and 12th after 3 laps at Baku. Safety car, pretty sure coming in this lap, it's been out for 3, so it'll peel off into the pits and release Doomsray and One Wing, both on the hard compound tires, which they started this race on. Cosmo and Ephraim have also yet to pit. They started the race on the tire that they are currently on. Louis is the last one who is yet to pit. He's in 10th. Lights on the safety car are out, so it will speed up and make its way back into the pit lane as we can get this Azerbaijan Grand Prix back underway. To start lap 5 of 26, it's Doomsray leading the race. OWR One Wing sits second, now waiting for Doomsray. I think he's already gone. He's already hit the gas, and yeah, this race is back underway here in Azerbaijan. Doomsray leads the race from One Wing, Cosmo, and Ephraim Tabone, who's found himself back up into the top 5. Kurt Valletta putting pressure on Ephraim as well. Yeah, there's been a bit of an accident there in the back. It looks like Maverick Jakku involved in it? No, he looks like able to get through it by gaining some positions. It's actually going to quickly turn back. There's been some more contact. It's Jakku and Sprunky going side by side now. The Haas and the Ferrari. Approaching now turn 3. big braking zone. Is there going to be any contact? No. Jacko's going to back off just a little bit so there wouldn't be any contact. And that lets ISRL Spunky keep 11th place. It's still Doomsray. It's a bit of a train now forming with the harder compound tire drivers heading the pack. It's going to be a bit slower at first, especially after a safety car cold tires. If they hadn't warmed them up properly as the safety cars was coming in especially, but now here they come to the castle section, getting very, very close between the top three. Nearly contact between One Wing and Cosmo. Very defensive driving from Williams, but everything fair and square. There's been a bit of an incident in the castle section. Always right there, 3 wide now almost it looked like, but it's Cosmo able to keep the lead, but goes into the wall. One Wing able to take second. Where's Doomsray gone? He's fallen to 4th. Kurt Valletta is up to 3rd, and a VSC has now come out, so the field is frozen. At least the positions are frozen. Out of nowhere, Doomsray went from 1st to 4th, but Cosmo, a lot of these drivers, but he has wing damage from going into the wall. Trying a bit of an aggressive move to take the lead, did not pay off, and a lot of damage from One Wing too, and Kurt Valletta, just like that, will retake the lead of the race. I think is it still Doomsray? No, he hit the wall too, so Doomsray will hit. Who's in 2nd place? It's Young Light. And Louis Coelho, there's been a move on the inside. It's Sprunky on Louis, and he makes the position. That's Sprunky up into 3rd place. Action everywhere we look here in Azerbaijan. Start after getting pole position, looking to make his way back into the top 3. He's got his teammate Louis in front of him for the moment. Nearly 10 drivers made their way into the pit lane. Now all making their way out now, so it's just this group of 7 here, pretty much, just pulled away from the rest of the cars who had to jump into the pits and make that stop. Castle section now. Who is that? Is that Chris, who's had a bit of an incident? It is. Don't think he's collected any more drivers, so we'll keep it here. Castle section, 2 Haas's, and here comes Maverick starting to close in on the 2 Haas cars who are battling it out, but slowing each other down, and V. Jack, who nearly got sent into the inside wall, somehow saved it. Don't think he got any wing damage, but he does lose the position to Maverick. A comeback here at Maverick just after he had lost the spot. What a great camera shot we've got here. Down the main straightaway, Kurt Valletta, fastest lap of the race. That's the pace of V. Jack getting past Maverick for 5th place, but can Maverick try and mount a comeback? Not here in turn 1, at least, but maybe gonna try and regroup and go for it again, but that's allowed Louis to to actually build a bit of a buffer from his teammate. Jack was on the hard tires, so after that earlier incident decided to go to the end of the race, at least for his sake. But now, knowing Kurt Valletta's incredible pace, who's going to step up after all of these opportunities so far in the first 7 laps, and maybe someone to steal one, make it, or at least make it interesting. Still found Kurt Valletta dropping from the top 3 to the bottom 10, all the way now back up into the lead of the race for the first time. So someone's going to have to mount that charge if they want the championship to start getting a bit more interesting, at least in the first spot, in the first place of the championship. Now, the same spot he had trouble last time, had to get out of the throttle just a little bit, and it did look like he lost a bit of control of his car, but nothing too bad for him. You know, we'll have DRS on his teammate as a bit of a four-car pack here, as Luciano has managed to catch these guys as they've all been battling with each other for the past lap and a half. Now it's V. Jack who's going to get that DRS in that slipstream, now pulls out to the right side on his teammate. go side by side. Not a good camera angle either. There we go. It is Michaku passing his teammate Louis, and that is 4th place for the pole sitter. Bakker trying to make his way back. It wasn't just almost 5 laps ago. He was leading the race. Almost had as many leaders of the race. What's happened here with Cosmo? This contact right in front of Bakker, and it's Doomsray around. What was that? And right in front of the pack here in turn 1. It looked like one wing almost even hit the front wing of Doomsray that fell off. Bit of a lunging move, and both end plates on McLaren are gone. Just, it goes back to my point. As many laps as there have been leaders of the race, and nearly more than half have been demoted out of the lead of the race within the next lap, it seems like. So ever-changing race conditions, at least with the positions, not the weather, it has not changed surprisingly here. Ephraim, another driver with a bit of a roller coaster race, had to start in last, made his way up to the top 3, currently sits 10th, trying to get past Cosmo, who had that earlier incident on the previous lap with Doomsray. Almost kind of looked like he had made a mistake mid-corner and really didn't have a choice after that, and was just on from there. But here comes Maverick now, passing Louis Coelho into turn 1, side by side, able to get the move done. But now Luciano smelling a bit of an opportunity. And Coelho, interesting, none of them could really decide when to brake. It's Luciano into the wall. It was a very tentative, unsure move from Luciano. Louis definitely broke a lot earlier than usual, and they were both kind of unsure, it looked like, who was going to really go ahead and take that advantage away. And as a result, Luciano just smashed into the wall. That's the second or third driver we've seen hit the wall in turn 2. Yeah, and look at that. That's not just an in-plate damage. That is the full right side of your wing gone, and this is when you really need it most. Taking extra precautionary measures, and Louis lets him by. Maybe he thinks that he wants that to happen, but oh, he does have damage too, it looks like, on that right side, and he does. So kind gesture, but I think you'll quickly figure out that Luciano has a whole lot more wing damage than him. Now, who is that? That's not Kurt, is it? Or is that Chris? It is Chris, who had spun, and now it's actually his teammates starting to approach him. Young Lights and Sprunky, though, have kept the gap between each other, at least, and Kurt Valletta relatively the same. It hasn't gotten out of hand yet, at least. Still relatively early as well, so still anything can happen. Louis Coelho and Luciano make their way into the pit lane after that incident. So new front wings for both of them, probably new set of tires. Be interesting to see though, because yeah, they go on to the hards. Luciano goes on to a huge set of hards. Louis, luckily for him, has got a fresh set, so he puts those on. Here comes V-Mark and one wing now. V-Mark started at the front, but now overtaken by one wing, but he's going to have to look right back out though. A bit of shuffling there. They're side by side going in to turn 3, and it is V-Mark taking back the position he had just lost in the corner before, and now has his sights set on Ephraim Tabone, who is back up into 7th in the AlphaTauri. switch to the castle section now, as we've got V-Mark and One Wing still battling it out. Captain Blade, is that Captain Blade? He's had a bit of an issue. No, it's his team. It's not Ephraim Tabone because they're side by side. But here we go. It's Ephraim Tabone holding off V-Mark for the time being. You can see the pace difference, and especially with the tire compounds, at least the mediums that V-Mark has are going to be a lot more faster, a lot more grippier. And he will have Slipstream and DRS on the AlphaTauri, trying to make his way up into the top 7. The long straightaway, long front straightaway they are now on, just waiting for that rear wing to flap open, get that extra bit of top speed. But not enough closing speed. Ephraim Tabone looks like he's going to be able to hold on at least for turn 1, but the better cornering speed for V-Mark is going to help him come sector 2. A little more dose of DRS for V-Mark. Still looks like he's closing in a lot more than the previous corner. Now, are they going to go side by side? No, decides to slot back in for the time being. Probably not a bad idea, but he's going to go to the inside now on Ephraim. A big lunge. Does he hit the wall? There's contact and out of the exit. A bit of excitement. Too much on the throttle was Ephraim and into the wall. I think what happened was, from Ephraim's point of view, it looked like V-Mark hit the wall and was coming back on track in his direction, so he quickly hit the gas pedal and turned the wheel, and that was just too much for the rear wheels, and it spun the car around into the wall. Still on lap 11 here, now lap 12 as Kurt Valletta crosses the line. 14 laps left, still only that one full safety car. It had 2 VSCs. But other than that, just a whole lot of yellow flags and a whole lot of pit stops for a lot of these guys. New front wings galore. And now there's a virtual safety car again. Not sure for the reason. Yeah, really not sure for the reason for this one coming out. That is our third VSC of the session. Still Kurt Valletta, Young Lights, Sprunky holding strong. V-Jack, who was past Maverick and Bacher, or excuse me, I was thinking of V-Mark. It's V-Jack fourth, Maverick, Bacher, and V-Mark, who just got by 1 wing for 7th place. Ephraim Tabone's going to make his way into the pits after that accident that he had battling with V-Mark. Oh, and into the wall. Who's that? That's Ephraim Tabone again. Just talking about him. Wait, is it? Who was that? Was that Bacher? No. It was always Rick. I didn't see that he had gone into a DNF, but it was always Rick in the castle section. So I think that is about the 3rd or 4th driver who the castle section is claimed victim to here in the session. And the latest one is always Rick, who was out of the race here on lap 12, just as the VSC was ending, it seems like. Pack of 3 cars here. It's Louis, Luciano, and Victor. Louis just coming out of the pits onto the hard tire, fresh set of hard tires. Approaching the castle section now, but look at this behind him. It's Louis and Luciana having a bit of a battle. Bit of a tricky place to do it. Had to slam on the brakes Victor did to avoid hitting the wall. But all comes out all clean, at least it would appear, and yeah, he does. Halfway through here in ISRL Division 4, Round 6. Victor now putting pressure on Luciana, trying to get into that top 10. Have to be very, very careful. Now going through the castle section, Louis is right in front of him. They're approaching him. Looks a considerable amount slower than these two, just in the rate at which they're catching him. And Doomsray has found his way into the equation as well, after crashing out of the lead of the race back early on lap. Gosh, what lap was that? I think lap 4, lap 3, very early in the race. Doomsray had himself a P1, trying to make a decent recovery drive here in the McLaren. Not able to help any of these guys, at least any of these four, so they hold their positions as is. For now, a lot of the gaps starting to stretch out though from basically 9th on up. There's a pretty considerable gap between each individual driver, so no real pressure being put on to any one of them for the time being. But once again, though, I will say this though, as we see Luciana, Louis, and Doomsray battle it out, now going side by side. Is there going to be more contact? There is! Doomsray nearly did the exact same thing that we saw his teammate do. Kurt Valletta now into the pits, getting off of those medium tires. Sprunky and Young Lights, along with Vijaku, will pass him. Goes onto another set of medium tires to the end of the race. He did not start on the mediums that he just took off. I don't think so. He's good to do this. But these other guys now, this top 3 along with the Maverick, maybe not Vijaku and the Maverick, but at least ISRL Sprunky and Young Lights, I'm pretty sure, will have to pit again. So we'll have to see when they do pit, how that's going to shake up the order. But right now it's Young Lights leading the race from Sprunky. Vijaku's found himself back up into 3rd again. Kurt Valletta only dropped down to 4th after his pit stop. Looks like they want to go at each other once more here in Azerbaijan, approaching 10 to go here in round 6. Guys battling it out for the 6th position, easily through the castle section without any problems. Haven't been able to say that a lot this race. There's been almost an incident, it seems like every other lap at the castle section. It's taken out a good 3-4 drivers from this race, and a lot of them were early within a short span of each other. Had a lot of them go out, and did I just do it again? It's One Wing right before the castle section actually, and now all these cars are going to start to approach the slow Zero Wing, I should say, going through the castle section, because he literally has no front wing. Young Lights pits from the lead and takes a penalty for crossing the pit exit line. And he gets out just behind Kurt Valletta, and a penalty to boot. So it's Sprunky, the leader of the race, now under VSC after One Wing's incident. And Luciana, just as it was ending, now has a drive-through penalty. It could be very difficult sometimes to time them right. At least the release from the VSC. Yeah, to no avail. Lou in One Wing now. One Wing gonna have to come in and get a new wing because he has no wing at the moment. So an easy pass. Louis, Victor, and Doomsray will all pick up one spot as the Williams comes into the pits. Walker doing a great defensive job so far, but leaves the inside just a little bit open. Now's not the time to go side by side, especially under the castle section. Walker's got to get it back and make a good line, and he doesn't! He hits the wall, and that collects V-Mark again. Can't get out of trouble here. Can V-Mark, and a huge clatter onto the back of the Red Bull. Is that now more wing damage for him? They're both very slow. They both got damage. Both trying to make their way back into the pit lane without taking each other out for another time now. But you saw that coming. Sprunky pits out of the lead. Vjaku, who's good for the end of the race. Now wait a minute. It's going to be a battle after everything that's happened in this race. It would appear that it's going to come down to Young Light spins. And now hits the wall right in front of that AlphaTauri who was coming out of the pit lane. What was that all about? And he leaves the session and parks the car right in the pit entry line. Now we'll definitely have to take another look at that because he looked a deliberate move into the wall. It would appear it looked like it. We'll have to take another look at it and a harder look for sure. But as I was saying, after everything that's happened in this race, it's going to come down to Kurt Valletta and Vjaku. Can Vjaku's tires hold up for these final 9 laps, or can these fresh set of mediums and the extreme pace of Kurt Valletta be enough for him to win again here in Division 4 of ISRL Esports? What's happened here? Just a lot of action on the front straight. It's Ephraim getting past Louis to go into 8th place. Keep an eye on the gap though between Kurt and Jaku. 5 seconds right now. Pretty worn set of hards for the race leader, but a brand new set of mediums. Is that young? That's the retired Young Lights. Going gingerly through the castle section. Did Sprunky have anything to do with it though? If Kurt catches Vjaku and they start battling each other out, slowing each other down, does that give maybe Sprunky an opportunity on the freshest set of tires between the 3 of them? We'll just have to wait and see. And there's end plates littered all over the track. Just all the incidents that keep on happening as we see one behind Kurt Valletta in the background. I think that was either Ephraim or Captain Blade going into the wall at turn 2. Now what's the gap? Kurt has taken a good chunk out of Vjaku's lead. And I have to say, if he keeps on doing it at this rate, he's definitely probably going to see a pass for the lead before this is all over. And that's one of the AlphaTauris, yet again, the same one we saw hit the wall previously. Is it Ephraim? It is Captain Blade into the wall. Able to keep on going though. Sprunky not gaining any time on Kurt Valletta though, even with the soft compound tire on. Just it's not enough for him. It just doesn't look like it'll be enough for Sprunky to maybe battle for the lead, but looks like a full second already has been taken out. He can now see him right there. It's not even that far away. And still nearly 8 laps remaining. Captain Blade into the castle section crashes and retires out. Will that cause a safety car? Will that really start to shake things up? And I don't think so, as he's pretty clear of all other drivers. There's a McLaren approaching him, but hopefully he'll be ghosted off the track and no problems. And yep, there he goes. So lap 19 to 26, Division 4 ISRL Esports. Had probably the most action-packed race of the season so far. You look away for 1 second, and as I've already done, I had twice had no clue a safety car had come out, just so focused on all the other action going on the track. But you know, it's unsurprising how many safety cars and virtual safety cars we've already had. We've had Kurt Valletta and Vjaku and VMark all start at the front, find themselves out of the top 10, and yet still after 19, I'd say probably 17 laps, they are right back pretty much close to around where they started. But just 13 runners are left. And now now. It's under 3 seconds time, or the gap between Kurt and Jakku. For Jakku, this is just a painful waiting game at this point. These laps seem like they go on forever for him, I'm sure, as he nearly brushes the wall. Does he have wing damage? No. So just a very worn set of hard tires as he has a big lockup ending sector 2. Kurt's not close enough for DRS, but the pace difference is clear, and you can clearly see it not only on the timing sheets, but just visually. The distance between the two top runners is getting smaller as the laps start to wind down. Now right in front of these guys, what's happened here? It looked like it may have just been a teammate. No, what is going on? There's been a bit of an issue, at least for one of the other Haas cars. It looks like it was Louis trying to get himself situated, letting his teammate and Kurt by, not wanting to disrupt a battle for the lead here in the dying laps. Yep, and now we can really start to see Jakku really struggling on these tires, locked up into almost every corner. And there it is again, nearly hits the wall in the previous one. And now Kurt can really start to smell victory here, or at least a pass for the lead. We're going to want to be careful though, at least Jakku is at this part of the track into the castle section. The grip being lost from the car, it seems like just every other turn. Able to get it through relatively decent though, so no real time lost, or considerable time lost. But now the gap is under a second. Kurt Valletta is just fast. There's no real other way around it. And then you add the fact that the tire compound difference. You add the tire compound difference, and you really start to see the reason that the gap is really becoming so short so quickly. And he is going to get DRS now. Made up a really good 5 seconds within the matter of 2-3 laps, so very impressive now, and it's almost inevitable. He'll pull to the inside, DRS open, and look at that tactical move. Jakku can pit, but he looked like he slowed Kurt Valletta down. Not really sure if Kurt Valletta knew what Jakku was doing. And that uncertainty caused him to maybe let off the gas a little bit. He was in the way, of Jakku even pitting. He had taken the inside line and realized he wanted to pit and had to let him go. So that promotes Sprunky now up to second, but let's take a look at the penalty. It's only 3 seconds, so he's good for now. Final 5 laps of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and even after everything, our championship leader, Kurt Valletta, is still P1. It is ISRL Sprunky P2, Jakku, after everything he's had to battle back through in this race, he sits P3. Maverick with a very impressive P4, having to battle his way back up there as well. Along with V-Mark, Bakker had the lead of the race as well. Ephraim Tabone had to start last place. So really none of these positions are let's say based off of luck, but you know they've had to earn it. They've earned it. They've worked for it, and they've deserved it if everything holds to form. I think and Sprunky even has some wing damage, so I think it's just going to be too little too late for Sprunky. Jakku really didn't have much of a choice after he saw that Kurt Valletta was inevitably going to pass him on that straight, and said might as well pit onto the softest tire compound, try and go for the fastest lap. I'll still be in 3rd place. So all in all, it worked out pretty well for Jakku, all things considered. The only issue now, even though the cars are ghosted as he laps them, but Kurt Valletta's got a bit of lap traffic here in front of him. The 2 Williams of Victor and One Wing, along with Luciano, being approached by the race leader. They're going through the castle section now. But I was saying, even though they are ghosted, still visually it can be a bit distracting making your way through that traffic here in the F1 game. For P. Jackman, I'm starting to see with that wing damage that Sprunky has, Sector 2 is really not going to help him out, but with this fresh set of soft tires, P. Jackman might even smell a P2. But he's got to execute, not make any mistakes. He'll definitely have DRS for the front straightaway. But yeah, that wing damage is really starting to hamper Sprunky here as the race starts to die down. Look at this side-by-side already, and Sprunky wisely lets him by before any of the corners. As he knows the downforce difference between the two cars could have easily led to a catastrophe for both of them. So smart by Sprunky. He'll definitely keep P3 unless something major happens. Maverick's able to gain 19 seconds on him, but now he's going to have a go back at him. Looks to the inside. Would have been a bit of a risk to do it, but had a thought about it, decided not to. Let's jump back to the race leader quickly, making his way through traffic now, approaching one wing. There are blue flags, so, you know, ideally, if you're one wing, you'd pull over to the side anyway, even if your car's ghosted. But I don't think he's quite close enough to where it's a necessity at this point. Luciano really starting to slow down now, or his pace has dropped off. Victor gotten within a second, now within a half a second of the Ferrari. Someone has a bit of a glitch with the RPM. We'll still keep it here. And there you can see Kurt in the background having to deal with one wing. He does get out of the way of the race leader in the Mercedes, but now these two trying to battle it out for the bottom half of the top 10 here. Luciano goes very defensive, trying not to allow Victor to have any slipstream whatsoever. Now cuts back as Victor can have a look to the inside. A very, very late move, and frankly, pretty reckless defending by Luciano just at the last second. Moved all the way down to the inside and still going very slowly through the apex of the corner, not allowing Victor any room at all. Once again, now turn 3, very slow, hard on the brakes was Victor, and it was right in front of the race leader. But obviously Luciano has got an issue of some sorts, especially in the corners, as he's much slower than Victor, as we saw. But really held up the Williams pretty aggressively too, I might add. Stewards may have to take a look at it. We'll have to discuss it more though. But now Kurt Valletta. Oh, and there's a spin by Luciano. Hits the wall in the castle section now, going the wrong way. Not really ideal. But, and there he is, out of P8 for going the wrong way. He's disqualified. So P8 to nothing at the end. For Luciano, no safety car, as there's only 2 laps really to go, so can't really put out a safety car now. Wouldn't do much good. But that'll promote, what is that? I think that it helped Victor and One Wing move a position each, along with Dunjoy, Louis, and Young Lights, but Victor from 9th to 8th after that incident. Only 12 of these Division 4 runners have been able to survive the streets of Azerbaijan. Louis hits the wall again, but only 12 have been able to survive, and, you know, at this track, you really reap the reward rewards of indeed surviving, because it really is that. And we've seen all of these guys really had some adversity thrown their way and had to adjust. And they're reaping the rewards of it now, especially here in the top 3. And even Maverick in 4th place. Jaku's taken a good, I think, 6 seconds almost, because I could have swore I saw the gap between Sprunky and Kurt was around 16 seconds, but with that pit stop, Jaku was able to at least take out a little bit of Kurt's lead, but it is not going to be enough. At least it does not look like it. There's not enough really laps left to mount a serious comeback now. As for the second to last time, Kurt Valletta is going to start this long straightaway and start his final lap. Mark trying to put a late last attack onto the Maverick for that P4. Keeping a close eye on the gap. Let's quickly turn to it. Maverick, did he struggle a little bit through the castle section? Looks like he must have. Kurt Valletta starts the last lap of the race. Let's look at this for the moment, because this is for position between the Maverick and V-Mark. They're still on lap 25, but they will cross the line for one more time and start their final lap. But these guys are still dueling it out for P4. V-Mark will have DRS and a good bit of slipstream. He's taking a peek, but definitely not the place you want to make an overtake. Keeping an eye on Kurt Valletta in Sector 2 now. Maverick's got some good pace with him though, even with DRS. V-Mark's not using any of his ERS. Might be trying to save it for the last time they go around the long straightaway, but a lockup from Maverick forces V-Mark into the back of the Alfa Romeo, but no damage done. Another round of DRS for the McLaren. Isn't using any DRS now, used a little bit of it. But again, Maverick gets a good exit, and will keep that position for now. But let's switch back to the race leader for one more time. We'll start the long straightaway and look to win here in Division 4 for the 5th time. And so far this season, Division 4 has really been dominated by this guy right here, Kurt Valletta. He's won 4 out of 5, and he wins 5 out of 6 now as he crosses the line. Kurt Valletta wins the ISRL Division 4 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but now let's quickly jump back. Bakker's even gotten into this battle too. It's V-Mark, Maverick, and Bakker all battling it out for P3 on the last lap of the race. Here we go, big lockup contact. There's been a bit of an accordion effect. Bakker looks like he got the worst of it. A lot of wing damage, but V-Mark and Maverick carry on. It's going to be a sprint to the line to decide P4. Jaku and Sprunky have already crossed the line. They're the podium finishers, but here we go. Who's going to be 4th, 5th, and 6th? ERS being jammed to the power now by V-Mark. Maverick's got some good straight line speed. Is it going to be enough, though? Here he pulls out now. Is it going to be enough to take? It is! 4th for V-Mark. Maverick he put up a great fight, but just at the last possible moment, V-Mark pulled out to the left and made a great last-second overtake to take 4th away from Maverick. Very well done from the both of them. And unfortunately for Bakker, that bit of contact earlier in the lap really negated him from that battle. But that is round 6 over here in Azerbaijan. It is Kurt Valletta once again taking home the win, but it's Jaku and Sprunky who will join him on the podium. Very familiar face at the front of the podium. Kurt Valletta with his 5th win of the season here in Division 4 will extend his championship lead even further, especially with Angelov not racing this weekend. And yeah, that is gonna just about do it here for us at ISRL in Division 4. this was round 6 here in Azerbaijan in Division 4. Kurt Valletta takes the win. Fastest lap went to Vijaku. He'll get that extra championship point. Sprunky, even with the 3 seconds, will hang on to get a podium. V-Mark with that last second overtake on Maverick. That will be the top 5. Bakker, Ephraim, Victor, Doomsray with a good recovery drive, and One Wing. That's your top 10. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate everybody tuning in here this Wednesday afternoon to ISRL. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget, Formula Fridays is this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States. And we've got Divisions 3, 2, and 1 also. So be sure to tune back in this weekend and don't miss. And once again, yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. My name's been ISRL Carter. I'll see you guys next time.